Hi everyone, I'm Kaspar, co-founder and CEO of Pactum. And as you heard half an hour ago, how agents are eating the world, and I'm not going through Pactum's story this time. What I'm doing this time is a full dedicated session to the founders. And when I asked what's the hardest part of building a startup that we talk very little about, then my answer there was fundraising. I don't know what is the reason, but the 6 fundraising events that Pactum AI has gone through, most of the lessons learned, as I haven't heard from anyone else. So basically, it's you fail and succeed yourself. So I'll do my best in the next 7 to 10 minutes to kind of give you my pointers, take it or leave it, to different founders. And obviously, if you're not founder, then at least you can feel the journey of what one founder can go through. So for me, these are the key aspects of when we go through fundraising process, and I'll take through each one of them. First, for some reason, it's very hectic how founders are fundraising. So advice, take fundraising as a sales process. The good thing about sales process comparison is that you only need one lead investor to succeed. In sales, you need higher conversion. But if you take this as a sales process, then this is a screenshot 2 months ago. It's my Jira. Each one of these tickets is one investor. There are different phases. First call done, second call done, slide sent, etc. And you need to track that to term sheet and to signing a contract. You track relationship over time. And basically, last time we spoke to 177 investors. Each of those rejected you. So each of those will have in our Jira a line why they rejected you. So when we are doing next round, I'll start with these lines. You didn't invest to us last time because of this. Now we are still here. Set clear ICP to avoid calls. So basically, this is another, you can't read, but this is another kind of, each of that ticket has in which phase they're doing investment. What size tickets there are minimum? What's your revenue minimum? What's your expectation revenue? Quite often, investors want to spend time with founders because it's fun and you learn about the market. But you don't want to spend your time if you don't have. If you do second call, you do the first call 30 minutes. If you do the second call without having tracked whether this is your ICP, you will waste like 150 hours at least of calls because everyone wants to do second call. Don't do the second call if it's not time yet for you. Save your time. Process. Start with 30-minute call to get to know each other. Leave 2 or 3 months after that when you actually start fundraising. It's very difficult for someone to listen to you and then it's like super amazed and then please take my money. Right? They need to consume. They need to build their hypothesis. So what we are doing is that we do a 30-minute call and then we do roadshow. San Francisco, New York, London, and Tallinn. And you need to physically meet them. Like, we have never got any investment without having physical meetings. Like, you need to have that connection. But the trick is that you need to really squeeze that in. My recommendation is to do all those different countries within 3 weeks maximum. So this is my screenshot of April this year, 2 days in New York. Each of this is one New York investor. You just go to DAX, you go to next in a third, fourth investor. And the reason is that you want to build the momentum, you want to build the FOMO, fear of missing out. And if you spread this up for 2 months, then everyone starts rejecting you constantly, and you don't have that moment. And process-wise, when we started fundraising, then most of people recommended us that, hey, see that you run out of cash in September, you need to close in June, you should start fundraising in January, start doing slides in November. And what happens, you start fundraising in January and the last quarter matters in enterprise sales especially. If last quarter is this, like, we are so consumed about this hockey stick, I don't know. So if last quarter is this, it's very difficult to raise. Raise when you're up, when you're scaling. Even if it's half a year before you actually would like to raise. Third, data room. Quite often, founders start with slides. Let's do slides. my recommendation, write a memo. Old-fashioned business plan. What's the problem? What's the solution? What's the vision? What's the TAM? How do you use the funds? What's the market position, competitors? Write it up. And it's a very good exercise for your leadership team to actually align what's going on. Because when you start doing slides, it doesn't build the conversation. You do this internally, it takes even a month within your team. But then your business is very clear. After that, it took us a week to build slide deck. Second reason for memo is that when you're speaking to investors, you quite often get an analyst first. You can't get to the partner level. That analyst needs to build the business case about your business. So if you just send slides, they start building it randomly. If you send this is their material internally to sell your startup. So help your analysts to build your business case internally by sending this memo. Do very hardcore product demos. We even invest into product demos. Product demos and go-to-market numbers matters a lot. This is what we learned also from Margus when Karma invested to us. Like, don't speak about deals or something. Speak about conversions, sales reps quota attainment, like conversions of stages. Be very good in that. Get advice how to speak. This is different language. Like, know as a founder how to speak that language of process. Pre-arranged client reference calls. It's too late if you're going into this space and then your investors start to call your clients, but they don't call themselves. They are using some marketing agencies who pay $500 for your client, someone, and then they have a call and ask about your software. What happens is that sometimes, quite often, that person has never seen your product. Or never, sometimes even they don't work in that company, they just get $500. And then we get the due diligence back and say, oh, we have these customers. It's like, no, these are not our customers. So instead, run and manage that yourself. Call to your clients first, agree who is ready to do client reference calls, write them up, and give that information to the investor. And if they want, they can use it. But basically, you then manage and own these references. Terms and closing. As said, last but one round, we had 176 rejections before we had 177th investor who wanted us. So it's, and then, then you're a superstar. Oh, you're so successfully fundraised, right? But no one sees that 176 rejections. And it's pretty difficult mentally to go through every day, many times that you're not good enough. And your business doesn't have any value. So definitely consider that investor no is not making your business less viable. What is very difficult came to me is that I always had ambition that Pactum, from day one, it's like $10 billion company. We want to raise hundreds of millions. And it was a mistake. Start with lower round size. If you want to invest 10 million, start with 6. Because eventually, they will see your revenue multipliers and stuff, and they have like 20 other companies who are like 10x better with their numbers. And it's kind of difficult for them to proceed with you. But if you start with lower, you build momentum, you build trust, and then if competitor hit kicks in, then you can increase it. Right? So it's very difficult to go back to investors later and say that, oh, instead of 10, can you give us, 5? Be honest on competition. Everyone says, oh, everyone wants this, What I recommend is let's just say that in next 3 weeks, we expect term sheets. This is the time, so you need to rush into it. But don't start lying about that everyone wants you. Term sheet gives you exclusivity, gives that investor exclusivity. Be very sure why do you sign the term sheet. Because basically, if the due diligence is not successful, it's very difficult to go back to other investors say that actually, after due diligence, that investor didn't invest to us. So if they sign term sheet, if you sign term sheet, be sure that the commercial due diligence is done. And now it's basically a topic like, have you lied to us? And if you haven't lied to us, then you can be pretty sure that you will get the deal. And finally, physical and mental health, and maybe the most importantly, build resilience before fundraising. So this is my Oura Ring screenshots. And it shows the level of resilience. Resilience is if someone kicks you in your face, kind of how many minutes it takes you to kind of stand up again and proceed. So this is March 4th up until April 13th. When I started, I knew that I'm going to start fundraising in a month's time, and I start building up resilience from solid to strong to exceptional. And this is the point for my first flight to San Francisco. And then it goes down, right? And it goes down for many reasons. One is time zone. One is just it's so hectic. But it goes down, and now the question is that when can you stop this, right? And what can you do? So my recommendations is that, especially under pressure, take care of all parts of your life, like drinking, eating, sex, couple time, friends, family events, sports. This is my screenshot of my sober days. So even if I drink one glass of wine, this is cross. This is September. This is March when I fundraised. You need to be sober. You need to be sharp. Like any one day of alcohol can ruin one investor. Like super focused about that. Very dedicated time, but super focused. And especially sports, individually, it's different, but for me, it's 4 times per week. And finally, very final point is that when you would start from the middle, solid or strong level, you can imagine that it goes down as well. So if your resilience is not exceptional when you start and it goes down, so super careful before it crosses the red line. I have way too many friends who have crossed the red line, and even if it doesn't happen in the most worst case scenario, mentally, it's very difficult to recover, and it may take years. So get help before you cross the red line. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaspar.